Hello, my fantasy friends. I'm the Raging Redhead Cam Stewart from HotRoster today, here with your fantasy golf preview. The PGA Tour has one final pit stop before it heads to Augusta for arguably the biggest major of the year, the Masters. Specifically, golfers are going to arrive in Texas to tune up for the upcoming major and for a shot at the title at this week's Shell Houston Open. We got a lot of big-name guys in the field this week, but also some nice pooches who might end up surprising. It's important to remember a win here in Houston represents the last chance for some players to get that Masters invite. So expect those who still don't have a tee time in Augusta next week to be pushing hard for the #1 spot. But don't worry, I got you covered with my favorite players of the week, which includes one who is flying a little bit under the radar. Let's get into it. It's not often that we see Adam Scott tee it up in Houston, but when he does touch down in Texas, he excels big time. Having scored a win in 2007 and a T14 finish during his last trip to Houston in 2010. Now, I know some of you are skeptical about Scott, given his current state of his game. The last time we saw him play was the WGC Mexico Championship, and he finished a disappointing T45. But that was only one of Scott's 4 worldwide starts this season where he didn't finish within the top 20. Now he comes back to a course where he's never missed a cut before, and he's been a champ there before. Scott has been off the last 3 weeks. He should be well rested and prepared for this event, so make sure you don't sleep on the big Aussie this weekend. Another player with a rich history of success in Houston is big-hitting JB Holmes. Over his last 6 trips to Humble, Texas, Holmes has earned 4 top 12 finishes, including a win back in 2015. Now, similar to Scott, Holmes' play in 2017 hasn't necessarily inspired much to get excited about, especially when you include last week's WGC match play where he finished winless in 3 matches. But that doesn't mean this season he's been all bad. He did finish T12 against a strong field in Mexico. He hasn't finished worse than T35 in all but 1 event. He's also made 11 straight cuts dating back to 2016. So given his knack for succeeding in Houston and his relatively consistent play, don't be surprised if JB Holmes is among the mix come Sunday. Last but not least, one of those players flying way under the radar and looking to punch his ticket to the Masters is Charles Howell III. Now, it's important to note that Howell punching his ticket to Augusta is particularly important to him since he was born and raised in Augusta, Georgia, the site of the Masters. Now, it also doesn't hurt that Howell is playing some really good golf right now. Last week at the WGC match play, Howell made it to the round of 16 before ultimately falling to the eventual finalist Jon Rahm. He already has 4 top 10 finishes in 2017, and he hasn't missed a cut in 12 consecutive starts. Plus, to top it all off, Howell has excelled in Houston. He has 3 top 10s in his last 4 appearances in Humble, Texas, and that includes starts where he made in 2015, 2016, and he finished 5th and 7th respectively. So if you're looking for a smooth dark horse to win this week's tournament, I'd roll with Charles Howell III, considering he's playing well and what's at stake, a trip to the Masters. Well, that's it for today, my fantasy friends. Make sure you tune in tomorrow when we take a look at some of the matchups available on HotRoster for Thursday's busy slate of NHL games. And for those of you who don't know what HotRoster is, you got to check it out. Go to HotRoster.com, download the app, give it a try. It's like no other fantasy game you've played. And then for help winning the game, check out HotRoster today with me and my buddy Gary and Thorne every weekday at 4:30 Eastern on the Fantasy Sports Network and at 6:30 Eastern on Game TV. For HotRoster now, I'm Cam Stewart, and I'll see you later on.